And this father told me, my son said to me, I will use those tests every time from here on out, whether I think they're needed or not. I'm not going to go through the pain. He said, he won it. But his reputation, everything for months was tainted by having that suit hanging. So yeah, you're right. Anywhere between an average of 30% to 55% of the cost of a doctor's bill is related to frivolous lawsuits and malpractice, cost of malpractice insurance, depending on their specialty. Yes?
You were talking about the Tea Party, with the rise in popularity of groups like the Tea Parties. Do you see eventually there being a Tea Party candidate, or a third party, a conservative party, or a Tea Party?
I hope not, and I say it this way. You know, I tell people I was a Tea Party candidate for the Tea Party. In 1982, I ran against a rhino Republican. We didn't even call them rhinos back then. We said he was voting. He was voting for tax increases, he was voting for spending, and he wasn't voting his district. So I ran against him in 1982, and I defeated him. That was my first race ever running. But you know, I was a pastor before this. People say, what? How did you get into politics? How do you stand it? You ever been at a church board meeting? Politics are a lot easier. But I ran, and I won on that. And I ran on the principles of limited government, of reduced taxes and cuts in spending. And all through the 80s in the state legislature, I fought for that. And there were 3 or 4 of us that consistently voted no to spending, taxing, big government, and yes to the taxpayers. When Blanchard was defeated and Engler took over, then I became mainstream, because we went into cutting government, reducing the size and cost, restructuring, putting workfare in place, cutting taxes 26 times, and I co-sponsored all of those 26 tax cuts. And we saw the state turn around. That was a Republican effort that stood together strongly. If Republicans followed their principles and their platform, we wouldn't need a Tea Party. And so I'm part of that regeneration, as I hope, of the Republican ideals. Right now, if you were to go to Washington with me and I were to introduce you to my former colleagues, I could introduce out of 177 members that are still there in the minority. 130 to 140 of those, I could say, are firm, solid, true conservatives that will stand solid against tax increases and have signed no new tax increase pledges. People like Michelle Bachmann. Michelle and her husband, we were closest friends there. She's as tough as she sounds and as sweet as she sounds. But she really believes in America and limited government. Mike Pence from Indiana, great conservative. Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, won't change, solid conservative. Eric Cantor, the second in command in the Republican conference, won't change. John Boehner, our leader, never, in 20 years of being in Congress, never offered an earmark. A true conservative. I could go on down the list and would encourage you that the Republican Party has a base now there, more than a base, an overwhelming majority within the House of Representatives of Republicans that are solid, true blue conservatives. And that's what we can build on. If we don't build on it, then there's a need for a third party. But right now, with Ross Perot and others, we found out that just gives us, or gives the other side more chance to win. So, you know, I'm encouraging people, look at my record. There's no reason for a third party in this district.
My attitude towards our present leader is that he's more nearly a communist than he is a Democrat.
You know, a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of people have used the word socialist, Marxist, a lot of things. The concern that I have is that we would even be able to think of saying that about our president. That we would be concerned that he isn't as strongly committed to America, even if it's just perception, that we'd have that perception. That should not be, whether it's a Democrat or Republican sitting in that seat. You know, I never looked at Jimmy Carter and worried that he wasn't a proud American.
My vote is for it.
I'll forgive you. But he gave us Reagan.
Well,